Tonight on the Wallingford Sports Show, we are live again once at Buffalo Wild Wings. We've got some more news out of the University of Kentucky for their basketball team. Two more guys enter the draft, and one guy decides to transfer. Plus, we are going to be joined tonight on the show by Isaiah Cozart and Alan Feldhouse, two of the main cogs in the Madison Central basketball program over the last 4 years. Do not go anywhere, folks. We're coming up live right now on the Wallingford Sports Show.
This is a special sports presentation of the Wallingford Broadcasting Company.
Sports fans, it's time for the Wallingford Sports Show. The Wallingford Sports Show is served up by Buffalo Wild Wings and also brought to you in part by Jack Burford Chevrolet, the law office of Patrick O'Neill, King Brothers Used Cars, and Honchels. Now let's go live inside the Jack Burford Chevrolet studios discussing the hottest sports topics around. Here are your hosts, Michael Watkins and Samantha Burford.
No Samantha Burford. Once again, I am Michael Watkins. Glad to have you tuned in here on the Wallingford Sports Show on what has been a absolutely perfect Monday. I tell you what, it's a jam-packed show. Coming up later on in the broadcast, we'll be joined by Alan Feldhouse and Isaiah Cozart from Madison Central to talk about the season and the career for Cozart and just what he's been up to since the season came to an end. We'll also talk some NBA playoff basketball as the playoffs in full swing now. We're almost through the first round, and some interesting second-round matchups coming up as it appears. And then we've also got some big news out of the University of Kentucky with two more guys putting their names in the draft and one guy transferring. You know, have you ever thought about how John Calipari and Vince McMahon, if you're a wrestling fan, you know, you got to think about how those two guys have a lot in common. If you look at the history of professional wrestling and the guys that have become kind of larger-than-life characters, if you will, to me, I can see a correlation between what Vince McMahon has done with guys like Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and compare that to what John Calipari has done at Kentucky. You've got guys like John Wall, Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Karl Anthony Towns, who came here and were literally characters on campus. They kind of consumed us with the way they played basketball, and that became a big part of our lives their 1 year on campus. And you look at some of the guys that have been there longer, like a Dominique Calkins, a Derek Willis, a Darius Miller, and obviously John Calipari was not the guy that recruited Darius Miller there, but he had him to win that first championship in 2012. To me, those two guys are so similar because of how they create these characters. And obviously the characters are kind of their own when you look at the way that John Calipari has got his guys there. But you can look at the guys that Calipari has had come through Kentucky and can kind of compare them and show some similarities as to what Vince McMahon has done in the WWE. And I've thought about that here the last week or so, and I wanted to kind of just point that out and just talk about some of the different characteristics and larger-than-life characters that have come up the ranks through professional wrestling and that for in Kentucky as well. Speaking of Kentucky basketball, we've got an interesting week. You know, last week we learned that Tyler Hero and Keldon Johnson were for sure keeping their name in the upcoming NBA draft, which will take place in June. And it was really not a huge surprise to a lot of people, but there was quite a bit of backlash on Twitter and Facebook, and you see the UK fans complaining about no longer having those 3 or 4 year guys staying at Kentucky and making an impact. And I don't know if we're ever going to really see that again as long as Calipari is there, because these guys come to Kentucky with the expectations that they are going to come here to Kentucky, have an awesome 1 year run, and then make that run and take it to the NBA. And now this week we've learned that Jamal Baker, a guy that saw some pretty good minutes at Kentucky this season, was not a huge part of the team, but when he was there, it seemed like he made an impact at points throughout this season, and even in the NCAA tournament run, he was really good in the win versus Wofford. His defense and a little bit of his playmaking was kind of a big part in the reason Kentucky won that game. So he announces this week that he is going to enter the transfer portal, if you will, I guess is what it's being called, and leave Kentucky. Now, where he goes is yet to be determined, but that's a guy that I think Calipari was kind of banking on being at Kentucky for 4 years. Then you look at guys like Nick Richards and E.J. Montgomery. Those two guys this week, Richards actually today, announcing that they are going to put their name in the NBA draft. Now, on Twitter and on Facebook, I saw everybody killing these guys for making that decision. First off, I don't think there's any chance that either one of those guys get drafted. Second of all, if you look at the way the NBA draft is set up now, it's perfect for guys like that to put their name out there, see where they're going to go, and decide if they want to come back. If Montgomery can get drafted in the first round, be in the NBA for 3 or 4 years, make $5 million in those 3 or 4 years, he's set for life. Now, if you want to be an NBA player for your entire career, then it's probably not a good decision for him. Because he's not good enough right now to be on an NBA roster. But if he puts his name there, and it takes one GM to say, you know what, Montgomery, I will draft you in the first round. If you're still there at 27, whoever that team is, then we will draft you there. If that's the case, then I don't blame him one bit for putting his name in. And the same with Richards. If those two guys can take what they have done at Kentucky, which has basically been nothing, they've shown potential, they've shown flashes of being really good, but they've never been able to really put it all together. But if they can take what they've done at Kentucky and parlay that into an NBA contract and a first-round pick in the NBA, then I think those guys have to do that. I'm not sure either one of those will ever be really good at Kentucky. Now, Montgomery, I think, is a player that, if given the minutes and given more touches, could possibly have some really good numbers at the end of next season. Richards looked lost at times on the floor, and I think with him it's more of a case of it being a mental thing than it is really a physical thing, because he's a really good athlete. He kind of reminds you of a little bit of a less athletic and slower Willie Cauley-Stein, but to him, to me, with him, it's all up top. You know, can he really make the right, smart play and be that kind of energy guy that an NBA team might consider him to be if they make a draft pick on him? So those two guys put their name in the NBA draft. Again, they have to, I think, the end of this month to decide if they want to stay in the draft or come back. I'm probably 70-30, 70%, because I think we'll see both of those guys come back. And if we don't, then Calipari has got to pull some strings and find some guys to come fill their void, because as of right now, those two are the only two big men we have. Now we've got the transfer coming in from Bucknell. And I think we've got one more guy that's a little bit of size on him coming into the recruiting class, but that's it. If we lose Richards and Montgomery, we've got a lot to fulfill and a lot to make up for and to replace if those two guys keep their name in the NBA draft. We are live at Buffalo Wild Wings here on the Wallingford Sports Show. Glad to have you tuned in. Don't forget, coming up this week, that's actually tomorrow from 5 to 7 at Chick-fil-A in Richmond. There will be a free autograph and free ice cream cone as part of the Hometown Heroes event in the Madison County Special Olympics. For more information on that, you can visit the Madison County Special Olympics Facebook page and learn more. Live here at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I believe was talking to Tommy before the broadcast, and from now until Thursday, the end of Thursday, here at Buffalo Wild Wings, you can get $5 burgers and fries. That is the $5, and if you've not had the new burgers here at Buffalo Wild Wings, you're missing out. They're fresh, never frozen hamburgers, great meal. You come over here for $5, you get your burgers and fries until Thursday, grab you a nice cold drink, and have a great time here. The NBA playoffs are going on right now. The NHL playoffs are going on right now, and it's still a cool time to kind of come out here. You can hang out. You've got some guys behind us playing Golden Tee, and just kind of watch some good sporting events right now as the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs are currently going on. And then on Thursday, if you're going to be out and about, the NFL draft is Thursday. And all the talk today and leading up to Thursday will Kyler Murray be the #1 overall pick? So it's kind of interesting. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about where those Kentucky guys might go when we come back live here at Buffalo Wild Wings. This is the Wallingford Sports Show.
At King Brothers Used Cars in Winchester, you don't have to worry about the hassles of dealing with an aggressive salesman. They strive to make you feel comfortable and help you find the car you're looking for at the best price possible. Stop by today and get your key and drive off in a new-to-you vehicle from King Brothers Used Cars on West Lexington Avenue in Winchester. Or stop by their Facebook page for updates and their website, kingbrotherscars.com, to check out their inventory. King Brothers Used Cars, family-owned and time-tested since 1966.
Honchels in Irvin is your year-round stop for Carhartt, Izod, Lee jeans, and boots. Prepare yourself for hunting with a huge selection of Carhartt bibs, coats, and other hunting gear. Don't forget about the big selection of hunting and work boots from Wolverine, Justin, Rocky, and more. As always, Honchels carries all the latest in Kentucky and Estill Engineer apparel and Skechers and New Balance for the little ones. The same great staff, same great personalized service always at Honchels on the Richmond Road in Irvin.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Escape to sports with Buffalo Wild Wings. GM Tommy Martin invites you to come watch your favorite team play at Buffalo Wild Wings, the best game day atmosphere and happy hour in town. Menu items as low as $2 each weekday 2 to 7 and again 10 till close. Plus wing specials every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget to ask your server about the Blazing Rewards program and see how you can earn free food. Buffalo Wild Wings, Richmond Center.
We've got Kinetic Blue. We've got Cajun Red. We've got Storm Blue Metallic. We've got Mosaic Black Metallic. We've got Summit White. What are we talking about? Jack Burford Chevrolet Equinoxes. You can get up to $8,000 off on select Chevy Equinox models. Check them out at jackburford.com and be sure to subscribe to our Jack Burford Chevrolet YouTube channel too.
Live at Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center here in Richmond. I'm glad to have you along on the Wallingford Sports Show. We are served up by Buffalo Wild Wings right now, going on from now until Thursday. Get $5 burgers and fries. That's here at Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center. Come on out and enjoy a great deal. $5 burgers and fries at Buffalo Wild Wings. Thursday night is the NFL Draft, and it'll be a great time to come here to Buffalo Wild Wings. Bring your friends. I'm sure the sound will be on as the draft commences from, I believe, Nashville this year. And I was going over the 2019 NFL mock draft, and the word today, or the rumor today, was that Kyler Murray would not be selected by the Cardinals with the first overall pick. And if you look at every single mock draft out there, almost all of the ones that I've seen have Murray going number 1 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, they have yet to make a trade for Josh Rosen, the guy that they traded up for last year, to take at number 10 in the NFL Draft. And as far as Kyler Murray goes, he is an absolute perfect fit in the system that the new head coach at Arizona will run. And if you look at the Vegas odds, everybody now looking at Vegas odds to consider what is the best thing to put your money on, Murray is actually minus 590 to be the first overall pick in the NFL Draft, which means you would have to bet $590 to win $100. So that's the kind of odds that you're getting right now on Kyler Murray being the number 1 overall pick. And Arizona kind of leaked out the information that Murray would not be the guy that they selected. And everybody that I've seen still believes that he will be the number 1 overall selection. Number 2, the Niners selecting Nick Bosa. And Kentucky fans wondering, well, that pretty much means that Josh Allen, the guy that kind of resurrected Kentucky football along with Benny Snell, Mark Stoops, and the guys this year at Kentucky, where does that have Allen going in the NFL Draft? Well, WalterFootball.com has the New York Jets taking Quinnen Williams out of Alabama, number 3 overall, and Allen going number 4 to the Oakland Raiders. Now, Oakland making all kinds of noise this year in the offseason, bringing in guys like Antonio Brown. You've got Marshawn Lynch already there. They brought in Vontaze Burfict. And they've signed Trent Brown to a huge contract, the offensive lineman. They have had a lot of interesting offseason moves. Drafting Allen number 4 after trading away Khalil Mack last season would really be a nice little transition for John Gruden, who has 2 more first-round picks in the draft after number 4. And, you know, if you look at some of the mock drafts, it looks like Oakland would probably spend at least 2, if not all 3, on the defensive side of the football, because they've got Lynch. They might select a running back at some point, and it would be kind of cool for Kentucky fans to see maybe Benny Snell get drafted by the Oakland Raiders later on in the draft as to kind of back up Marshawn Lynch. But this Kentucky team had a lot of guys that are probably going to be drafted. Benny Snell, they had a couple of defensive secondary players that might get drafted. And according to WalterFootball.com, you've got guys like Ed Oliver going number 5 to the Buccaneers, the New York Giants, and everybody thinking that they are going to take a quarterback to replace Eli Manning. This website has the Giants taking Rashawn Gary, the defensive end, defensive tackle out of Michigan at number 6, and Dwayne Haskins falling all the way down to, wow, they even passed number 11. So they've got another quarterback, Drew Lock, going ahead of Haskins at number 11 to the Bengals. So a lot of interesting notes when you look ahead to the draft on Thursday as to where will guys go. I think the most interesting as far as Kentucky players go is Benny Snell, because running backs have a short shelf life, and if you look around the NFL, there's not too many teams that need a number 1 running back. But what Snell can give you is kind of that power guy to go along with a guy that's got speed. He can be kind of like a LeGarrette Blount or a Marshawn Lynch, if you will, kind of be that powerhouse in your backfield to go along with a guy that can be your third down back or whatever the case may be. I've seen some different mock drafts. The Detroit Lions taking him. I've seen the Green Bay Packers maybe get taking Snell later in the draft, probably in the 3rd or 4th round if he's still available for whenever they're there. So possibly some interesting moves to be made in the NFL draft. I tell you, a team to keep your eye on is the Miami Dolphins, who just traded their quarterback this offseason to Ryan Tannehill to the Tennessee Titans. So now Tannehill with the Titans and the Dolphins have a wide open quarterback competition. Will they try to get a quarterback this year, or will they wait till next year when there's probably 2 or 3 guys that'll come out that could be really good quarterbacks? It'll be interesting to see what the Dolphins do, but they're an interesting team because they traded their quarterback, who would have most likely been their starter, in Tannehill, who's been injured year after year after year. Now they have to replace him, and will it be this year or next? WalterFootball.com has Devin White going number 10 to the Broncos. Again, Drew Lock going number 11 to the Bengals. T.J. Hawkinson, who is a tight end from Iowa, going to the Green Bay Packers at number 12. And then the Dolphins taking Christian Wilkins at number 13. Andre Dillard at number 14. Daniel Jones, another quarterback, going at number 15 to the Redskins. And then Cody Ford going number 16 to the Panthers to round out kind of the first 16 picks there in the NFL draft. If you're not a big NFL fan nowadays, if you've not really been paying attention to what's been going on around the NFL draft, a lot of trade talk, a lot of moves that have been made here in the offseason to kind of put teams in position to make a big move here around the draft time. The draft is again this Thursday, and if you're looking for a place to watch the NFL draft, you've got to get out over here to Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center. Let these guys take care of you. It's an awesome atmosphere. You come out here, you can grab you a nice cold drink, and again, they now have the $5 burgers and fries going on now until Thursday at Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center. And it's a great place to kind of come hang out. Again, the NBA playoffs are going on right now. And if you've been watching the playoffs, you've been seeing some different guys pouting, and in the media, Kevin Durant getting into it with some media personnel. Russell Westbrook last night kind of being short with media personnel when he answered his questions. When I was a Celtics fan, I'm a huge Celtics fan, was that way whenever Antoine Walker was there back in the day with Ron Mercer and Patino was there. Became even bigger Celtics fan when Rondo was there, when they were making their run with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. The NBA is just different to me now. And if you've been a fan of the show for the last couple of years, you know that I am a diehard NBA fan. But when I see these guys continuously complain about officiating and not getting the calls, or the guys are guarding them too hard, the NBA is legitimately soft nowadays. You got guys who come into the NBA, they've been groomed, they've been praised from their 1 or 2 years in college, they become a high draft pick, and they just supposed to think that things are going to be handed down to them. Even when LeBron James was winning championships, he never really handled the criticism well. I think the only guy who was a perfect example of how to handle the criticism of today's NBA is Stephen Curry. You never hear a single bad thing about him. And I guess whenever you're winning championships year after year after year, it's a little bit easier to not have the media on your back all the time. But a guy like Steph Curry, who has done so good at handling the media, and again, you never hear a bad thing about him. Now, there was the one time in the NBA Finals against LeBron and the Cavaliers where he was thrown out of the game through his mouthpiece. That was kind of a dark, I guess, moment for Curry. But you don't see too many of those. You know, if you look at guys like Kevin Durant, obviously whenever the Warriors blew that 31-point lead, Durant was the guy that it was centered around because he didn't take enough shots. When you look at what happened last night with the Thunder and the Blazers, Westbrook was the one to blame. And all these guys just continue to pout. They don't stand up and take blame for a loss or a turnover or a bad shot. They always seem to throw everybody else under the bus. It's never their fault. And in the game, I think it was Saturday, whenever the Nets and the 76ers got into it, if that melee or that fight had occurred in the 1980s, can you imagine the fallout from that? Joel Embiid, who's a trash talker, maybe the biggest trash talker in the NBA right now, who loves going on Twitter and stuff after a ball game and talking trash, he was pushed in the back by Jared Dudley, who's an old Grizzly veteran, and he backed down. And to me, that kind of sums up what the NBA is right now, because you see all these guys who love to run their mouth on social media after the ball game, but in the game, they don't really back it up. And that's kind of the NBA nowadays. They don't do what they say they're going to do until after the game is over with and you've gone your separate ways. So that's, to me, the NBA now is a soft league. But I don't know what it'll take to get back to it, because you've got guys coming in, they're being praised their 1 or 2 years in college. They're being handed the keys to their franchise. You've got LeBron James, who's getting able to make his own moves and make his own player personnel trades and get his own coach in there every single year, whatever team he goes to. And it's a players' league now, and it has been for probably a few years, maybe 5-10 years. And it just seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if it'll get better. We want to stay on that, the NBA playoffs, and when we come back, we're hoping that Isaiah Cozart and Alan Feldhouse will join us, two guys from the Madison Central basketball program. Also tonight on the Wallingford Sports Show, we've got our Law Office of Patrick O'Neill Facebook poll. If you haven't taken a part in that vote yet, you can head on over to the WBON TV Facebook page and vote as to which former Kentucky player has had a better performance in this year's NBA playoffs. Jamal Murray or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, two guys that have been playing very well for their respective teams. Alexander on the Clippers, and Jamal Murray leading the Nuggets to a come-from-behind victory a few nights ago, and they had a big 20-point performance in their last game in San Antonio. So we'll talk about that and more when we come back live at Buffalo Wild Wings. We are coming at you courtesy of the Jack Burford Chevrolet Traveling Studios. This is the Wallingford Sports Show.
At King Brothers Used Cars in Winchester, you don't have to worry about the hassles of dealing with an aggressive salesman. They strive to make you feel comfortable and help you find the car you're looking for at the best price possible. Stop by today and get your key and drive off in a new-to-you vehicle from King Brothers Used Cars on West Lexington Avenue in Winchester, or stop by their Facebook page for updates and their website, kingbrotherscars.com, to check out their inventory. King Brothers Used Cars, family-owned and time-tested since 1966.
Honchels in Irvin is your year-round stop for Carhartt Izod Lee jeans and boots. Prepare yourself for hunting with a huge selection of Carhartt bibs, coats, and other hunting gear. Don't forget about the big selection of hunting and work boots from Wolverine, Justin, Rocky, and more. As always, Honchels carries all the latest in Kentucky and Estill Engineer apparel and Skechers and New Balance for the little ones. The same great staff, same great personalized service, always at Honchels on the Richmond Road in Irvin.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Escape to sports with Buffalo Wild Wings. GM Tommy Martin invites you to come watch your favorite team play at Buffalo Wild Wings, the best game day atmosphere and happy hour in town. Menu items as low as $2 each weekday 2 to 7 and again 10 till close. Plus wing specials every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget to ask your server about the Blazing Rewards program and see how you can earn free food. Buffalo Wild Wings, Richmond Center.
We've got Kinetic Blue. We've got Cajun Red. We've got Storm Blue Metallic. We've got Mosaic Black Metallic. We've got Summit White. What are we talking about? Jack Burford Chevrolet Equinoxes. You can get up to $8,000 off on select Chevy Equinox models. Check them out at jackburford.com and be sure to subscribe to our Jack Burford Chevrolet YouTube channel too.
Live at Buffalo Wild Wings here in the Richmond Center, the Wallingford Sports Show coming at you live. We are joined by one of the best to ever do it, Isaiah Cozart, here in the state of Kentucky for high school basketball, and one of the best to ever do it on the sidelines as well, Alan Feldhouse. Guys, welcome in.
How's it going? Thanks for having us, Michael.
Coach, you guys finished the season not really how you'd want to, but if you look back on the year, it seemed to get better every single year. Got a lot of young guys that'll be coming back that played some good minutes for you. But tonight I want to kind of talk about what this guy's meant to your program over the last 4 years and what it's going to mean for you, obviously him not being there and kind of having to replace a guy like this.
Yeah, we'll find out next year how important he's been. You don't replace somebody that gets 200 blocks.
What was the total number for your career?
14 or 16.
7-14, 7-16.
So I think he ended. I think it was 7-16. I think he ended up beating J.R. Van Hoos's record by exactly 150. I think by 150.
Wow.
Because his record was like 541
or something like that. So we're not going to be able to replace that. Our style's probably going to have to be a little bit different. I mean, when you've got a 6'8" guy that got to where he could score the way he could this year and average 20 points a game. Of course, we wanted him to touch the ball every single time down the floor. And we're not going to have that luxury next year. We're going to be, we could probably have 5 guards out there, so we're going to have to spread it out and hopefully play a little bit faster. But it's where we're going to miss him is on that defensive end.
Oh, yeah.
We could gamble a little bit more and put a little bit more pressure out on the perimeter, knowing that if they got by us, we'd always have Isaiah back there in the back line. And we have nobody anywhere close to that next year. So we're going to have to kind of change some things up, which that's fine.
When you look over his career, and it seemed like he seemed to get more confident and better every single year.
Especially offense. I mean, defense, he's always been able to block shots. I mean, even as a freshman, he wasn't ready to play 11th region basketball as a freshman. We didn't have any choice. After Christmas, we moved him in the starting lineup because we had absolutely no size, and he did give us a defensive presence. Yeah. But offensively, he had a long ways to go at that point, and we went back and looked before our banquet. I think his freshman season, he shot like 34% from the field.
Wow.
And the only shots he were getting was around the basket. And then this year, he ends up averaging 20 points a game and shot 60-something% from the field. He just continually progressed offensively, and he's really, especially this year, I don't think I've seen a player in a long time that could control a game on both ends of the floor. He's always been up controlled on the defensive end, but, I mean, even offensively this year.
To me, I think the most impressive thing about Isaiah was you look at the team he had around him his junior year where he really didn't have to score. Right. And then you come into his senior year, he knows that he's going to have to score. The defense that you're playing against knows he's going to have to score, and he still scored.
Yeah, I mean, doubles, triple teams, almost, and smart by that team doing that. Especially
those were fun.
When we lost, when you lose Isaiah Minner and Dustin Gerald, who were really two really good offensive players, and that allowed him to not get the double teams and triple teams. But this year, when there was several times, especially late in the year, we had a couple people out on the floor that you didn't have to guard because they weren't a threat offensively. So you knew where their men were going to be. They were going to be on Isaiah.
Sounds about like me when I was playing, because I think you had more blocks than I had points in high school, and I started 3 years, so I don't know what that tells you about me. But let's talk to you. So what have you been doing since the season came to an end?
Just working, preparing for the next level, like Western Kentucky. I know that's going to be something different, definitely a different experience. And so I've just been, constantly getting in the gym, weightlifting. I thought I wouldn't have to weightlift at school for Coach, but he left me no choice.
Gotta stay on you, right?
Well, we do something, 5 days a week, so, it's not going to hurt him. My guys are lifting on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so he lives with us on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have open gym after we left on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. He plays with us, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays we play. So, that's 5 days a week, and he better get used to that. He'll be doing it more than 5 days a week when he gets up there. So.
Have you been going to campus any, kind of just maybe checking out the team or working out with the team any down there?
Not recently, but I have been, to the campus a lot of times. The most recent visit was like where I went to watch a game, play. And I was like really close to the sideline, so I got to see, how they worked, how the team kind of operated and stuff, and how they played. And it was pretty good experience.
And he'll report really soon as that Kentucky-Indiana All-Star game is over with.
But when is that exactly?
It's that first weekend in June.
Yeah, we have to report, I think, on June 4th. And then I leave to go to Western June 10th.
Now, you've been playing with some really good competition in those tryouts. Now, the tryouts this weekend was for the Kentucky-Indiana game.
Yes.
Now, 2 weekends ago, you're trying out for a different All-Star game, right?
Yeah, it was for the Ohio-Kentucky.
Okay. So, are you on both teams, or is that how that works?
They already played the game.
Yeah,
Kentucky-Ohio game?
Okay. He really didn't have tryouts. He was just invited to that one. And he played well. Of course, most of your All-Star games, the posts don't get the ball.
Oh, yeah.
I think you end up with 13 points, but
14, yeah.
He basically just had to go get those.
Oh, yeah.
he didn't get too many passes made to it.
I was keeping up with the Twitter account for the Kentucky-Ohio All-Star game, and they had a one-on-one competition. I'm like, I would like to see Isaiah going up against Kiki, Tandy, and guys like that in the one-on-one game. What was that like?
Honestly, playing Kiki Tandy, it was also another experience because I guard and stuff, but never really guards kind of casually all the time.
Yeah.
So it was more of a learning experience to guards, because I'm definitely going to be guarding those types of people not in Western. So. But it was fun.
I think y'all won the 3-on-3.
I saw that too. And it was
3-on-3.
you and who was your two guys on your team? Do you remember?
Kid from Taylor County.
Put him on the
kid
spot.
from Taylor County.
Smith.
I can't remember the second one.
I think it was one of the kids from Louisville, maybe. I can't remember who it was either.
Yeah.
But you guys got David Johnson, who's going to Louisville. Tandy's going to Xavier. I think the guy from Walton Verona is going to Xavier too. So there's some really good competition that you've been playing with in those tournaments and the All-Star games, excuse me.
And the kid from Hopkinsville, because we were supposed to play Hopkinsville this year, and they didn't get to come because of I think it's really more the forecast of bad weather. I don't think.
Yeah.
But their post player, he is a legit 7'2".
I see it. And you standing next to him.
Oh, yeah.
That reminded me of that. Was it the team you played last year? Where they had a 7'6" guy?
7'7".
Yeah.
That was an experience.
That guy was. I think he was on a national team over there this year. I think that guy.
He was from Spire. He played at Spire Academy. But the kid from Hopkinsville is really. Because we played down there, I guess, his sophomore year, and he was just on the JV team then. I think he was only 6'5" or 6'6".
Yeah,
but he is a legit 7'2".
His arms are almost as long as mine, to give you perspective. So if he stood straight up with his arms straight up, he'd be at least 9 feet tall.
Yeah, he's huge. He's huge.
Well, talk about you playing in the 11th region. You've seen some very good competition. Obviously Michael Marino at Scott County. Talk about some of the relationships. Have you kept up with just individual players since you've been coming through the ranks here at Madison Central?
Oh yeah. Do you mean like people that I've played against?
Yeah. Have you developed relationships with guys like Michael? Or
he's played with a lot of them.
Yeah. You have no choice when you play the All-Star games and stuff to kind of get connected with them. So Michael, David, Kiki, all of them, Deontay Miles, all of them. You kind of when you're with all top-tier talent, you kind of just hit it off with each other. So
that must be. I never had that experience. So I'm glad you did though.
Well, he played with, of course. Dante Allen was on his AAU team
and stuff.
Deontay Miles played with him on the AAU team. The Graham kid from Clark County.
Jordan. I felt like Jordan was very underrated. He was just so smooth. Most of y'all played him this year, and he seemed to just never be rattled. If he got trapped, he always made the smart play and never tried to do too much.
Right, smart kid, coach's son.
Oh, yeah.
So he's grown up in the gym. So, but Isaiah, he's played with a lot of those guys, and not only during AAU, because we play everybody. We play everybody during the season.
Yeah.
So he gets to see them then too.
As far as your schedule goes for next year, Coach, it's going to be as difficult as it was this past year? Is it?
Yes, we're not changing. That's just who we. That's just who we play. All of your Trinities, your Ballards, your Scott Counties, we got them all. Covenant Catholic. I mean, we're not going to. I tell my kids. I mean, we're probably going to struggle because we're going to be young.
Oh yeah.
Of course, we do have 2 starters coming back, but they're just going to be juniors, and we could have a couple freshmen that could start probably before the year's over with. So we could be very young, but we're never going to change our schedule. We're going to find the best we can play year in and year out, and that's the only way you're going to be prepared once you get to 11th region.
Obviously, Billy Hicks hanging them up. Have you talked to him any since the final?
I knew when we played him here during regular season. He told me that this was going to be it. And he's got a grandchild on the way, and of course he's almost like 67, 68 years old. So I think he knew. And plus the school splitting up, and he had so many seniors on his team, and those guys have been playing together for a long time. So I don't think you could find for him. I don't think he could find a better time to hang it up than this year. So it's going to be interesting more because of the new school opening up. And I noticed they just hired their new coach. It was really, I don't know the guy. He was a middle school coach there in Scott County at Great Crossing. They just hired him today. And then Tim Glenn, who was Billy's assistant for a long time, got the Scott County job. So it's hopefully that means something for the rest of us when you're splitting those Scott County schools.
Well, that seemed like that. They've been in the tournament, either you or them, the last few years, going back and forth, and then it just seems like they've had that one. I feel like since I've been doing games here with Wallingford, it seems like Moreno and Stewart and Covington have been there and been playing, starting every single year.
They played as freshmen, and Bryce Long. I remember when they were freshmen, all 4 of those guys played a lot, significant minutes as freshmen. So that was a special group.
Now, when you look down the ranks in your middle schools here, you got Clark Moores, Cottle. You've got a few coaches or guys that played underneath you. Is that kind of key for you to kind of help build your program back up as well?
No question. And then having Coach Pyatt and Daniel Park both on my staff, it just means so much when you have guys that have been through the program and they know what I expect, they know how we do things, they know how much emphasis we put on playing man-to-man defense. And of course, you had Kyle Congleton was helping over Cottle, and Kyle, he knows exactly what I want.
Kyle beat me like a drum. I had 1 year of coaching at Estill County, and I think both times we played Kyle and Cottle, I think he beat us like a drum both times. So
I mean, Kyle's been through the ranks, and he knows what we expect and what we want. And truthfully, all 3 of our middle school programs have finally got to the point where they're sending coaches over there to watch us when we start preseason, watch us practice, see how we do things, and they're starting to implement some of those things into their program, and that can only help. Because when you play against teams like Lexington Catholic, where they start with their kids, they're running the same system, starting with 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and we always don't bring ours in. Like we've got 8th graders, we're going to have tryouts for this year's 8th graders, next year's incoming freshmen this coming weekend, and we'll start working with them 3 or 4 days a week to get them ready, start implementing our system, get them ready for this summer. But we'll play Lexington Catholic, and they'll be a fine-tuned machine, and I mean they'll wear us out in the summer, but you can see ours catching up. So eventually it does kick in.
Obviously, you got Cole coming back. And the other kid, I know his Braden Ray. 2 guys that were really important to you this year. Talk about some of the young guys that might see minutes. I know Trey Skaggs is a guy that everybody's kind of been talking about. Excited to see him kind of coming to his own, getting some playing time too.
Of course, he'll just be a freshman, and Jalen Davis, the other one.
Yes, good ball handler.
He
seemed like
grown. I mean, he's about 6'2" right now, and he's probably. I mean, of course, Cole and Braden both are really good shooters, but Jalen can flat out fill it up. He's one of those guys that could get it. He did it in the freshman season this year. We had some games where he hit 5 or 6 threes in a row.
Pretty sure his record's like 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for an 8th grader playing against high school kids, that was pretty special. But I mean, those kids, you got to remember. I mean, they're both still kind of weak physically, which they'll get stronger. I mean, they're going to improve as the season goes on. I'd like to say that we wouldn't have to play them. So, I mean, school our size, you shouldn't have to play freshmen. But if they're as good as my juniors are saying, they're going to play. I promise you, I'm not afraid to play an 8th grader or freshman if they're good enough. And I think both of those guys are going to be special players. But when we have some other guy. I think Alex Rogers, who was our JV post player, he's probably right now the main candidate to replace Isaiah. I mean, totally different player. I mean, he's not a shot blocker, but he can really knock that 15-footer down.
Mid-range game,
which is going to allow us to spread it out. Which we're going to have to spread it out a little bit more next year. We really, our senior class, we only have 2 guys that are going to be seniors. Zach McKenzie, who played on JV, and then William Jacobs, who we finally got him back this year after missing 2 years with an ACL. So our senior class is very small in numbers. Our junior class, we do have some numbers there. Sophomore class, not one of the strongest ones, but we're gonna rely on some young ones. I almost promise you.
Well, Isaiah, when you look at this team kind of coming up, if you're still around right now, is there anybody that you've kind of taken under your wing to kind of work with, or have you kind of reached out to some of these younger kids to kind of show them the way and kind of help prepare them for what Coach Fetthouse is going to be bringing to them over the next few years?
It's funny you say that because I was just thinking about this like yesterday or something, that Jalen, taking a particular liking with like Jalen and like how he plays and stuff, because he kind of like, not in the terms of like the position, but kind of like what like how his build and stuff and like how he plays and stuff kind of reminds me of me when I was a freshman.
Arms and legs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Got to give him some milk, right?
Yeah. So I told like the stuff that he's going to expect from Coach Fetthouse, and that he's probably going to be probably going to play a lot more next year, and Coach Fetthouse is definitely going to have more of an eye on him next year. So he just has to get ready for it. And one of the main things that I think that he just has to get ready for is just to get stronger, just like how I was freshman year. That was one of the main things, getting stronger and just getting more mobile with the basketball and stuff.
And when you have those freshmen like Jalen and Trey, I mean, they've never lifted before.
Yeah.
So we've already got them coming over and lifting, and we take Jalen, and because they can't get there until after school's over with, so we take Jalen and Trey down there just by themselves. And it's funny to see a kid that's never lifted before sit down there and do that bench press for the very first time, and you just got to start with the bar.
Technique, exactly. I was the same way.
To learn that technique, you got to start with the bar. But that's what I told them. I said, don't y'all be embarrassed, because you'll really improve quickly once you get that technique down. Now, that first time they lifted, I think that next morning when they woke up and they go to wash their hair and they can't get their hands above their shoulders, they realized I said, that will go away. I promise you that soreness will go away. But they're no different than the other freshmen, no different when Isaiah came in there.
I still remember.
He struggled to get the ball up there too.
Oh yeah. I think it's a process too, because if you get downhearted or get down on yourself, then it just makes it harder to overcome. But if you take it as a challenge, and you can really become a better player about getting in the weight room and becoming more physical.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Exactly.
And I don't think we've had we kind of take pride in getting in that weight room, but I don't think we've had a senior that hasn't been able to bench at least 200 pounds by the time they're seniors. And a lot of them start out by benching 45 pounds when they first get there, but it's a process, and you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
When you look down your career here at Madison Central, you've had a lot of really good players coming through. Dominique, Kenja, have you kept up with those guys any as far as what Dominique and Kenja are doing now?
I think Dominique, they just finished their season. He actually, once they got to the playoffs, he had a bad ankle. I don't think he got to play in that last series, and that really hurt him. Kenja is actually the leading scorer in his league.
Yeah, he's killing it right now.
So, we text and we talk a lot. I would think Dominique will be coming home here pretty soon, because he went over like in October. I mean, that's a very long season for them. Kenja, of course, he's there in Australia. I mean, it's wintertime. They're in wintertime for them, so he'll be there during our summer.
Okay.
Their season goes through our summer before he'll get to come home. But I mean, those are just two once in a lifetime guards right there, and I'm just glad. I tell them both, play as long as you can.
Yeah.
As long as you can. You can make money doing it. Keep playing. And right now they're both having a lot of success.
Well, not trying to compare me to them, but I actually played last night and woke up this morning. Tried a lot harder when you don't. Obviously, they're a lot different kind of athlete than I was, but it's just the older you get, it's harder to get dressed the next morning.
You're exactly right. That's for sure.
Well, guys, thank you all for coming. Isaiah will be keeping up with you, buddy, and good luck at Western. And, Coach, anytime you want to come on the show, feel free to do so and keep us up to date with everything else going on at Madison Central.
Sounds good, Michael. Thanks for having us on.
Alan Feldhouse and Isaiah Kozar. When we come back, again, lots to continue talking about here on the Wallingford Sports Show, live at Buffalo Wild Wings, folks. Don't go anywhere.
At King Brothers Used Cars in Winchester, you don't have to worry about the hassles of dealing with an aggressive salesman. They strive to make you feel comfortable and help you find the car you're looking for at the best price possible. Stop by today and get your key and drive off in a new-to-you vehicle from King Brothers Used Cars on West Lexington Avenue in Winchester, or stop by their Facebook page for updates and their website kingbrotherscars.com to check out their inventory. King Brothers Used Cars, family owned and time tested since 1966.
Honchels in Irvin is your year-round stop for Carhartt, Izod, Lee jeans, and boots. Prepare yourself for hunting with a huge selection of Carhartt bibs, coats, and other hunting gear. Don't forget about the big selection of hunting and work boots from Wolverine, Justin, Rocky, and more. As always, Honchels carries all the latest in Kentucky and Estill Engineer apparel and Skechers and New Balance for the little ones. The same great staff, same great personalized service always at Honchels on the Richmond Road in Irvin.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Escape to sports with Buffalo Wild Wings. GM Tommy Martin invites you to come watch your favorite team play at Buffalo Wild Wings, the best game day atmosphere and happy hour in town. Menu items as low as $2 each weekday 2 to 7 and again 10 till close. Plus wing specials every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget to ask your server about the Blazing Rewards program and see how you can earn free food. Buffalo Wild Wings, Richmond Center.
We've got Kinetic Blue. We've got Cajun Red. We've got Storm Blue Metallic. We've got Mosaic Black Metallic. We've got Summit White. What are we talking about? Jack Burford Chevrolet Equinoxes. You can get up to $8,000 off on select Chevy Equinox models. Check them out at jackburford.com and be sure to subscribe to our Jack Burford Chevrolet YouTube channel too.
Back here at Buffalo Wild Wings on the Wallingford Sports Show. A shout out to Darren Douglas tuning us in and Sean Wilhite. Glad to have you all along. And Chris Stanford for commenting on our live Facebook feed. It is now time for the Law Office of Patrick O'Neill Facebook poll, which today centers around Kentucky guys that are having a really good first round of the NBA playoffs. Today's question is, which former Kentucky player has been more impressive in the NBA playoffs? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a rookie, averaging 13.5 points per game, or Jamal Murray, who was averaging 17.8 points per game for the Denver Nuggets in their first round series versus the San Antonio Spurs. And so far, the votes being tallied: 79% voting for Jamal Murray, 21% voting for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and that's part of our Law Office of Patrick O'Neill Facebook poll. If you need help with workers' compensation cases, criminal defense, Social Security, disability, or lots more, make sure to call the Law Office of Patrick O'Neill. He is located in Breathitt County, but he serves all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For a free consultation, call 606-666-2990. Looking at these guys that are having good first rounds in the NBA playoffs that came from Kentucky, the big names aren't out there. Cousins was probably the biggest name, and of course him getting hurt in that second game, I believe, against the Clippers, really kind of a disappointment during the NBA playoffs, because if you're a Kentucky fan, you want to see Big Cuz do good. It was his first ever appearance in the NBA playoffs, and although he's not the focal point, really probably the fifth option on that Warriors team, sad to see a guy like that go, who really was just trying to get himself back in shape, get his name back out there, and possibly get a bigger contract. Now his injury kind of sets him back once again. And the two guys that are probably having the best NBA playoffs as far that played at Kentucky are Alexander and Murray. And even though our Facebook poll goes to Jamal Murray, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been the more impressive of the two guys, and out of the guys that have played at Kentucky that are in the NBA playoffs. Alexander's a rookie. He's really not a guy that the Clippers run offense through, but he's been super impressive, and he is doing this against the Golden State Warriors on the biggest stage. Everybody tunes into the Warriors games to see how many threes they're going to hit, how many points they're going to put up. And Shea is going out there and putting up 13.5 points per game, along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists, and is playing good defense. He's really been impressive for Doc Rivers and this Clippers basketball team, so much so that a lot of NBA experts are saying that if you look at next year's free agent class, the Clippers are probably the most destination that people would want to go to because of their team and because of young guys like Gilgeous-Alexander and their coach Doc Rivers. If you add Kawhi Leonard or a Kevin Durant or possibly even a Klay Thompson, or if DeMarcus Cousins is healthy and he comes there next year, the Clippers are a legit threat. They're probably one superstar away from being a really, really dangerous team because they've got all the role players you need. They're probably one big man away and a superstar from being a legit championship contender. And if Kawhi Leonard goes there next year, along with Gilgeous-Alexander, then you've got a legit chance to win the championship next year in the Clippers organization. Other guys that are playing very well in the NBA playoffs right now that played at Kentucky, Enes Kanter has been really good for the Portland Trail Blazers, and although Kanter really didn't get a play at Kentucky because of the whatever the rule was, he was not able to play. He has been a big part of what the Trailblazers have done against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And also, a big shout out to Nerlens Noel, who's been very good with the Oklahoma City Thunder. We want to say thank you to all of our great sponsors. King Brothers Used Cars over in Winchester. Make sure to visit kingbrotherscars.com and check out later on this week on our Facebook page to see who our King Brothers Used Cars Player of the Week was for this week. Also, thank you to Jack Burford Chevrolet. Make sure to visit jackburford.com to check out the great deals on new Chevrolets arriving daily at Jack Burford Chevrolet. We are also brought to you by Honchos over in the West Irvin Plaza. Guys, if you're in Irvin anytime this week, stop by and check out the great deals on new golf shirts, Izod and Lee jeans as well. Honchos has all the great deals, and you can stop by there in the West Irvin Plaza. We are also brought to you by the Law Office of Patrick O'Neill. They are located in Breathitt County, but he serves all over central and eastern Kentucky. Call 606-666-2990. And by Buffalo Wild Wings. Get here today, tomorrow, Wednesday, or Thursday for the NFL Draft and get $5 burgers and fries here at Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center. Samantha Burford not here this week. Next week we will have no show due to a baseball game. So next week is a busy week on WBON TV. 4 games next week. We've got a game tomorrow and Wednesday as well this week. As tomorrow, Estill County takes on GRC in baseball. And then on Wednesday, the same 2 schools square off in softball. For Austin Hanks, our producer on the TV side, and Jaden Johnson, our producer on the radio side, I am Michael Watkins. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Wallingford Sports Show.
At King Brothers Used Cars in Winchester, you don't have to worry about the hassles of dealing with an aggressive salesman. They strive to make you feel comfortable and help you find the car you're looking for at the best price possible. Stop by today and get your key and drive off in a new-to-you vehicle from King Brothers Used Cars on West Lexington Avenue in Winchester, or stop by their Facebook page for updates and their website, kingbrotherscars.com, to check out their inventory. King Brothers Used Cars, family-owned and time-tested since 1966.
Honchos in Irvin is your year-round stop for Carhartt, Izod, Lee jeans, and boots. Prepare yourself for hunting with a huge selection of Carhartt bibs, coats, and other hunting gear. Don't forget about the big selection of hunting and work boots from Wolverine, Justin, Rocky, and more. As always, Honchos carries all the latest in Kentucky and Estill Engineer apparel and Skechers and New Balance for the little ones. The same great staff, same great personalized service always at Honchos on the Richmond Road in Irvin.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Escape to sports with Buffalo Wild Wings. GM Tommy Martin invites you to come watch your favorite team play at Buffalo Wild Wings, the best game day atmosphere and happy hour in town. Menu items as low as $2 each weekday 2 to 7 and again 10 till close. Plus wing specials every Tuesday and Thursday. Don't forget to ask your server about the Blazing Rewards program and see how you can earn free food. Buffalo Wild Wings, Richmond Center.
We've got Kinetic Blue. We've got Cajun Red. We've got Storm Blue Metallic. We've got Mosaic Black Metallic. We've got Summit White. What are we talking about? Jack Burford Chevrolet Equinoxes. You can get up to $8,000 off on select Chevy Equinox models. Check them out at jackburford.com and be sure to subscribe to our Jack Burford Chevrolet YouTube channel too.